So, first thing to know, where to start. Let's start by actually thinking about our bodies for a second. What I want each of you to do is just think for a second, is anything aching? I'm not asking, I'm not to be told. Stop it. Just think to yourselves, before we start, take stock of your own body. Does everything feel fine? Because if we're going to do some stretches, at the end of it, it would be nice to be able to say to ourselves, has anything improved? So you can't do that unless you start by saying, this is where I am now. So just give yourselves a shake and just think, does this feel right? Is there anything that's hurting? Anything I'm thinking, oh, I wish that wasn't hurting? I just file it away up here, okay? Right. Next thing to do is stand. Okay, so look at how I'm standing. Me. The way that I'm standing is absolutely typical of the way that people tend to stand, including me. Alright? If you look at any group of people, and before coming on to do this talk, I looked around to see how people were standing, and most people were standing more or less like this. That includes, for example, 6'7", the guy who owns that Gus there. Now he's called 6'7". He's called 6'7" for a reason, and he's an osteopath. Okay, but he stands like this too. We all do it. And if you look at how I'm standing, what you'll see is that all of my weight is going down the right-hand side of my body. Yeah, it's going straight through my right hip, down my right leg, onto my right foot. So what's my left leg doing? Steadying me. That's it. It's got no weight on it. It's just holding me steady. This is very comfortable. I can stand like this if I have to for quite a long time. What it's not is symmetrical. My body's twisted. If you look at me, look at how I'm standing, I'm twisted out of shape. I've got my pelvis twisted, my shoulders are twisted, my spine is twisted, and what I'm doing is I'm doing damage to myself by standing like this. Only a little bit of damage, but I'm doing damage. And if I stand like this repeatedly, day after day, week after week, it all mounts up. This is a major contributory factor to having back problems, is not thinking about what I'm doing. So let's try something different. Try standing like this. Okay? Now at the moment all I'm doing is standing with my legs apart, looking fairly ordinary, but actually there's more going on than that, because what I'm now going to do is a little bit of Pilates. What I want you all to do, without moving your feet, I want you to try to bring your feet towards each other without moving your feet. Now if you try and do that, you'll realise what you're doing is you're tightening up the inner thigh here. Okay? Try doing that. Just try pulling your knees and your feet towards each other. I've just done it, by the way, in case you're wondering. I'm doing it right now. I'm now feeling much more taut, much more controlled. Okay? What I'm doing is I'm turning my body into an A-frame. Engineers use this a lot. You'll know a bit about this, Sean.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Up at the top of a crane.
There you go. Classic A-frame shape up to my waist. What I've got is two uprights coming together at my waist, and the crossbar of the A is the invisible crossbar of me trying to pull my legs together. Just doing that, just that one simple change, will totally transform the way that your body feels. Is anybody getting this? Are you noticing straight away that it feels more comfortable to stand like this? All right? I'm symmetrical, I'm balanced, I'm feeling fairly firm. This is good. This is just using my thighs. The reason that's helping is because my thighs are core muscles. They're part of your core muscle groups. Now if you talk to any group of people and you mention muscles, what everybody tends to think of is rippling biceps. Look at me. That's not what I'm talking about at all. Core muscles are quite different. Your core muscles are your thighs, great big muscles that control your legs. Buttocks, great big solid muscles. People tend to overlook these a lot. You don't want to talk about your bum very much, but your bum is actually one of the biggest muscles in your body. Stomach, great big solid muscle. Yeah, I know there's flab on top of it, sorry about that, but the fact is, that is muscle. And then finally, you've got one muscle you never even think about, and that's your diaphragm. Your diaphragm, you may think about as being something used for breathing and for singing, and yes, you do use it for that. The reason you use it is because it is a muscle, a very large muscle. Those four muscles I just mentioned, thighs, bum, stomach, diaphragm, If you get all of those engaged, that's called engaging your core, if you forgive the jargon. What that'll do for you is totally transform the way you stand and the way you feel. How do you use your diaphragm? Okay, take a deep breath. If I say take a deep breath, again, what's going through the mind of at least some of you is, I'm a beach. Look at me. Yeah? No, that's not what I mean by a big breath. Big breath, Buddha. Think Buddha. You think of the pictures of the Buddha you've seen with a big belly. Okay? Think of Buddha breathing. That's not even slightly sexy. But it's engaging the muscles. It's waking up that muscle group, which otherwise wouldn't be doing anything. Do it again. Right. I'm now already beginning to feel quite a lot better. Try it. Try doing a Buddha breathe. Try deliberately throwing your stomach out and really inflating. Forget about your chest. That's to look good on the beach. Engage your stomach and your diaphragm. Alright? Now if you're thinking now about, all at the same time, your buttocks, your thighs, your stomach and your diaphragm, you should find you're already feeling better just for doing that. I know I am. Just standing here talking to you, this is already feeling like really, really comfortable. I'm totally relaxed. I'll be able to do this for ages. So why am I standing here? There's a stage. What am I doing standing on here? I've got a bloody stage. The reason I'm standing on here is because this area is about 2 foot on the side. All right? This is about the amount of space that I take up when I stand in a pub with a beer in my hand. And I do these exercises in a pub. I'm doing them right now. I'm doing Pilates as you look at me. It doesn't show, does it? I haven't got a tattoo across my forehead saying he's doing Pilates. You can do this stuff in a pub. You can do it in a rehearsal room without your bandmates necessarily noticing if you're embarrassed about this sort of thing. Okay? What you want is to do these exercises before you go on stage. I play in a pub rock band. Strangely enough, half my bleeding band is here right now. Ding, ding. So we've finished loading out into the pub. We've set up the PA, we've set up the light rig, I've set up my bass rig. I've got 5-10 minutes before I'm due on stage. What could I usefully be doing? I'll tell you what I could usefully be doing. I could be doing some stretches. Get myself nicely loosened up, ready to play. And nobody need know. Let's start with, it's all in the fingers, remember? Start with the fingers. Now, you can either do this finger to finger, or you can do them one at a time. What I want you to do is to stretch back, finger to finger. Pain, stop, 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 stop. Pain, I forgot to mention pain. No pain, no gain. Right, we all know that. Bollocks. That's complete rubbish. Going for the burn, no. Okay, we're heading into Tommy Cooper territory here. Pain is God's way of telling you, don't do that. If something is hurting, then stop doing it. I'm not a Pilates trainer, I'm not a qualified instructor, I'm a bass player who spent 3 years fighting back from bad backs, and I've picked up some stuff along the way. That's all. If you find yourself doing something and it hurts, stop doing it. Okay, stretch back, finger to finger, enough that the web between these two fingers is stretching, enough so that you know that you're stretching it, but not enough so that it's painful. That was easy. Now try the second finger, middle finger. Fine. Now do the third finger. And of course, the fourth finger. Okay? All you're doing there is loosening up the muscles in the fingers. What about the thumb? Can we do the same thing with the thumb? You can, but you need to be slightly more careful because of that. Okay? That big muscle at the base of the thumb, you'll be particularly aware of this if you play with a pick. If you spend enough time doing that, you'll be familiar with the sensation of that thing there locking up on you, getting more and more painful, more and more uncomfortable. And you're thinking, how can I loosen that up? And the answer is, you tenderize it. All right? Exactly like somebody about to cook a steak. If you think the steak may be tough, you tenderize it. How do you tenderize it? You hit it with a bloody hammer, don't you? Well, I haven't got a hammer, so what I'm going to do is straight eights. Okay? Just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I can press back on the thumb. Alright? If you do that so that you know that you're tapping it, you feel the tap. We're not trying to hurt ourselves here, we're trying to loosen up the muscle. The reason for that is because muscles work by contracting. Despite what somebody has tried to argue with me, they only work by contracting. They don't expand, they don't push. So the only way the muscle can work is by getting tighter and tighter, and if you use a muscle enough, it'll just keep getting tighter. That's how you get cramp, that's how you get pain. So what you have to do is persuade that muscle to relax. That's what that's all about. You're just knocking that muscle into a looser position and then stretching it. That's my hands. My hands are now feeling absolutely fine. I can pick up a bass and play with no pain, no effort at all. Let's move up the arms a bit. Forearms. Forearms, if you could look through my skin and bone, what you'd see is a pair of bones, a bunch of tendons, a bunch of muscles. There's quite a lot going on in there. How am I going to loosen that up? I don't want to be standing here banging my arms, that's going to get quite painful after a while. The answer turns out to be you need a specialist piece of equipment. There we go. Special piece of equipment. I call this a towel. I'll spell it for you later, okay?
Is that not technically a beer towel?
It could be a beer towel, yeah. In fairness, it's also a Kaiser Chiefs beer towel. I predict a riot. So, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to hold it loosely in my hand. Now, you don't actually need the towel, okay? The towel is a red herring. Anyway, what I want you to do is pretend you're holding a towel like this, hand over hand. You can handle this. It's method acting.
Okay.
What I'm doing is I'm gently twisting the towel against itself. The towel is a distraction. This has got nothing to do with the towel. It's got nothing to do with my hands. While you're doing this, keep doing it and think about your forearms. What we're doing is rotating the forearms and then swap it round. So instead of left over right, you're doing right over left or whichever, and do it again. You're rotating every part of your forearms. And what that is doing is it's loosening them up. All right? Now, all of the stuff that we've done so far, seriously, I do standing by the bar at the Dog and Duck with a pint by my side. All right? That, for example, they usually have beer towels on the bar, but you don't actually need the beer towel. You can do this down here. So I'm talking to my friends, and okay, fair enough. I don't misunderstand this, but you get the general idea, right? Most of these exercises are not exercises, they're stretches. And most of them can be done very subtly without anybody really noticing that you're doing them. So, where to go next? Well, we've done that. Time to move up to the biceps. What we're going to do here is start to interact with the shoulders. All of your body is complicated. Your forearms are really very complicated, but not nearly as complicated as your shoulders. And the shoulders are then going to go into the small of your back area. It all gets very interactive, and you have to work on each muscle individually if you can. Much of Pilates is about focusing, isolating a single muscle or muscle group and stretching that. What I want you to do is put your hands together, not particularly firmly, just touching each other, okay? And then I want you to take that praying position and reverse it so that the tips of your middle finger are touching your breastbone. A bit lower than that? No, can you twist it all the way through like that? No? Okay. I tried doing this at South Coast BassBash, and somebody said, no, you couldn't get any further than that. And I said, well, with practice you can get it further than that. He turned out he had a bloody great metal pin in his arm, so I couldn't do it any further than that. But if you're doing it to there, again, while you're doing this, don't look at me for a second. Think about what your body is doing. Think about which muscles you're stretching. Okay? Come out of that, give it a quick shake to loosen, and do it again. And again, think about which muscles are being stretched. A lot of this stuff is simply to do with recognizing what you're doing. And again, you can do this by the bar. By now people are beginning to mutter. But you can do this standing by the bar. For the next one, you might want to step into the car park. So, this time, take the same position, and we're going to work a different set of muscles. Hands over your head, and push up. Now you should feel that you are using a very different set of muscles. You're doing the same stretch, sort of, using the same bits of your body, but you're now stretching different muscles. This should be stretching this area at the top of your shoulder, and that's an attachment, that's a linkage where your muscle is linking onto the bones, but up there. So that should loosen that up. And finally, since we're in praying mode anyway, let's stretch one last set of muscles and go over the back of your head like that. Loz, what's wrong?
Can't do that.
Can't do that?
No, my arm only goes up to there.
See,
I'm unfortunate dancing, especially with this.
okay. Bear in mind, while you're doing this, guys, I do hope you are all A-framing. Yes? You are A-framing, aren't you?
Yes.
All right? Because what you need to do is to get into the hang of just routinely, without thinking about it, standing like this, and I'm A-framing. I'm squeezing my bum. I'm holding in my stomach slightly, not to try and look good, but to try and engage with my core. Okay? So, how are we feeling so far? Is anybody in pain, first of all? Has anybody hurt themselves? No? Can anybody feel that this might be doing some good for them? Yeah? Okay. Working well. What I'd like you all to do now is slowly, don't shoot them up. I want you to put your hands up, both your hands up as high as they'll go, and think about which shoulder hurts more. Don't tell me, I'm not, this isn't a quiz. All right? I'm pretty sure that all of you will be thinking to yourself, actually, one shoulder is hurting more than the other. Now, it would be cruel of me to say to you all, now hold up the arm that hurts. So what I'd like you to do is to hold up the arm that doesn't hurt. Interesting mix. I can see we've got at least some left-handers here. Can I just, like, hands down, can I say, right, hold up, if you're a lefty, can I just see who you are?
Is that
Interesting,
playing
okay.
lefty, or is that
Are you left-handed?
rising lefty? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What you should find, by and large, is that if you are like me, right-handed, the arm that hurts less is your right arm.
Yeah.
And if you're left-handed, it should be your left arm that hurts less. Now, if you think to yourself, why would that be? This is dead easy. Let's play some air bass. All right? Come on, all of you, play air bass in your normal fashion. But by and large, it's not particularly twisted or distorted. There's nothing very odd going on there, right? Now take a look at my left arm and think about your left arm, and what you'll see is it's about as twisted as you can make a twisted thing. I'm twisting at the shoulder. I'm twisting in the upper arm. I'm twisting at the elbow, the forearm, the wrist. Everything is twisted in a very, very peculiar fashion. And if that isn't enough to be getting on with, look where I'm holding it. What a bloody silly place to put my hand. All right? That is what is going to lead to all sorts of grief in your shoulder. Stands to reason, and yet, Roger, obviously, for playing double bass, even more so. The only reason it's easier is because on double bass, you can actually lean on the bass and let that take some of the weight off your shoulder. That's what I found. Playing my electric upright, where I can't do that, I find that physically harder work than playing my double bass over there. It makes a hell of a difference, it really does. So, shoulders. Shoulders are absolutely crucial. And we all do enormous damage to our shoulders in our lifetime. But as a bass player, you're going to do far more than most. I hope this isn't true for you. But if I put my fingers, there's my shoulder joint right there. If I hold that fairly firmly with my fingers and simply do that with my arm, what I'm getting is the feel of a plastic cog ratcheting. Brrr, brrr. If you're getting that, yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. Believe me, it was already there before I pointed it out. All right, exactly. That is not a nice feeling. And it's going to get worse as you go unless you take appropriate steps. So you need all sorts of ways of loosening up your shoulders. My favourite way of loosening up a shoulder involves using a doorway. Well, I said I'd do the thing standing here, so I haven't got a doorway readily to hand. But what you can do is lean your arm against the doorway and then physically turn your body away from that to bring the shoulder joint open. That's a very, very useful way to open up the joint. All you're trying to do again is to stretch it open a little bit so that the muscles will relax. Now, there are other ways you can do it. I've brought along some specialist kit. All right? These you can buy if you want them on eBay or Amazon or whatever. These are just little strips of rubber. The reason they're different colour isn't because they're nice and gay. The reason they're different colours is because they're different strengths of stretchiness. Okay, the one that I tend to use, because I'm a man, is the purple. All I've done is tied a simple little knot in it, which will untie very easily, and I do what's called the tea tray. I'm standing with my arms as if I'm holding a heavy tea tray. Just doing the shape will do you no good at all. You've got to think to yourself, this is a heavy tea tray. I'm using strength. I'm using my shoulders and my arm and my biceps to stop that tea tray from falling on the floor. And then what I'm going to do, without moving my elbows away from my body, I'm going to move my tea tray arms about 2 inches apart, like that. If you think about it, what I'm doing there is forcing open my shoulder joints. Now, if you're just doing it, standing here doing nothing, I think you're probably getting close to the most to getting what we're trying to achieve there. You should feel you're getting some sort of opening of the shoulder joint as you do that. And again, if you get it right, I've been doing this for 3 years now as a result of serious back problems for a long, long time. I spent 3 years getting to where I've got to so far. Some of the stuff I'm showing you, you won't just get like that. It's going to take a bit more practice than that. Okay? So, how are we doing so far? Still everything fine? No problem at all? Okay, now what do I need to do? Oh yeah, the rotating ball. One of my more recent discoveries. I love this one. Imagine you're holding a ball, or a pair of balls, big balls, right? Inflatable balls if you prefer, I don't care. What I want you to do is arms straight out. You've got the balls in your hands, so the balls aren't going to go anywhere. What I want you to do is rotate so that the thumb starts to go over and down, and lead with the thumb. Don't think to yourself, I'm rotating my arms. Think to yourself, I'm pushing with my thumb. I'm pushing my thumb as far round as I can while holding these balls. Then, gently, come back again and keep going and push all the way around with your little fingers. Okay? If you could do that a few times, you'll be surprised how much you can loosen up your shoulder joint. Okay, so you're just rotating these imaginary inflatable balls. Strangely enough, you shouldn't do this with real balls. I tried doing that because you've got all this equipment lying around in the Pilates gym. And I tried picking up a couple of balls to do it with, and my teacher said, no, don't do that. Whatever you do, you don't need to be using real balls, you do this with imaginary balls. And it does work, it really does. Again, it's rotating that shoulder joint, loosening it up, easing it off. Now it's possible in doing these stretches that you've now got a certain amount of tension between your shoulder blades, base of your neck. Yeah? Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. What you need to do is to free that up now. That's dead easy. All I want you to do is to hug yourself. Remember that scene in Diamonds Are Forever where James Bond is waiting outside the flat? He's pretending to be in a clinch with a girl. It's pretty much what you're doing. Left hand, right hand. Okay? And what I want you to do is very gently. You are A-framing, right? You are A-framing, of course. What I want you to do is gently pull your arms forward and resist them by pushing back gently with your head. This is not a trial of strength. This is not Charles Atlas stuff. All you're doing is freeing up any tightness at the base of your neck. Having done left hand, right hand, of course, because of symmetry, do right hand, left hand. Too late, Chris, you missed it.
You start again.
No, you missed it. You have to watch the video now. Okay, so you do that, and what you should find is that if you had tension at the base of your neck, what I've done in... How long have I been talking? 20 minutes?
Yeah, slightly more than 20 minutes.
Oh, so call it 25 minutes, and I spent maybe 15 minutes of that 25 talking, which means that I spent maybe as much as 10 minutes doing actual stretches. All right? We're talking about a very small amount of time, but in that time, I've loosened up literally from my fingertips, up my forearms, to my upper arms, into my shoulders, and over into my neck. Yeah, there's lots more body I could be working on, but in terms of playing bass, this will now do me quite nicely. I can now pick up a reasonably heavy bass, like this one, sling that around my neck, and I can now do a 3-setter in any pub in London, All right, so I'm talking about like 2.5, pushing 3 hours live on stage. And the whole time that I'm playing, what you'll see when I'm playing, and I sing as well, so I've got the microphone right there, you'll see me standing like this, you'll see me standing like that, you'll see me, let's get up here, frost it off. You'll see me adopting all sorts of positions when I play bass on stage. What you'll notice is I'll always, at some point, come back to this. Does this look weird? Does this look like, what the hell's he doing, you know? No, of course it doesn't. I'm just standing here with my legs. Oh, I'm doing Pilates. I'm A-framing. And every time I'm doing, oh yeah, look at me, I'm a rock god, I'll come back to this. I don't do foot on the monster stuff. But if I did, I'd still come back to this afterwards. And especially when I'm singing. Okay, because I'm playing bass and singing, that's hard enough work as it is, without wondering, am I about to get a cramp attack? Or, oh, was that a twinge I felt in my lower back? How about my shoulder? No, I don't want to be thinking about that. I need to focus on what I'm doing. So whenever I'm singing and playing bass at the same time, if you come along to one of my gigs, you will always see I stand like this when I'm playing bass and singing. That's because I'm now locked into my A-frame shape and I can relax. I can stop thinking about it. It really, really does work. My history of back attacks, by the way, is that I've been having them off and on for about 20, 25 years. I used to think it was all down to trapped nerves. Maybe I twisted myself or slept awkwardly. And as I got older, I started thinking, well, no, maybe it's just, I'm getting old. It's a bit it got to the point about 4 or 5 years ago where I was routinely having really savage attacks. We're talking here about the lumbar region, about the sacroiliac joint, which is the big crossroads at your back, where your pelvis meets your spine. And I was routinely ending up spending a week lying flat on my back, virtually unable to move. And I do mean that. I know it sounds like a wild exaggeration. It's not. If you've never had a serious back attack, you have no idea how debilitating it is and how utterly dependent you become on the people around you. It is horrible. And I was getting those on average twice a year. That's when I started doing Pilates as an attempt to sort that out. I also went along to my local health centre and I paid with my own good money to have MRI scans done of my own back, because obviously I had real problems down there. There was clearly something seriously wrong with my lower back. And I paid with my own money to have these MRI scans, and what came back was the message, there's nothing wrong with your back, Jack. Absolutely nothing. It's a lovely back. The problem is the way I was using it. Use it better, problem goes away. I spent 3 years working on that. Net result is that I haven't had a significant lumbar attack in 18 months. The last problem I had was my own stupid fault trying to catch a 6-foot filing cabinet sliding down a set of concrete steps. I'd probably have been better advised to leave that to crash into the bottom, but either way, I tried to stop it and I regretted it. By and large, though, I can now routinely do stuff like play double-header gigs, 3 hours on a Friday, 3 hours on a Saturday, not to mention the 2-hour rehearsal on Saturday morning and the 2-hour rehearsal on Sunday afternoon. And I've got no problems at all. This makes a huge difference. We started by taking stock. What's aching, what's hurting? Do it again. Has anything changed? Would you say anything was better? I'm not suggesting that anybody can get into an A-frame shape and spend 3 hours standing there like this. Okay, I can't do it. I don't believe anybody else can either. You need to move around. You need to keep yourself physically moving. The point is, though, that after each set of moves, after I've been doing this and I've been doing that and I've been doing the other, I will always come back to an A-frame shape. And the beauty of what I've been trying to show you guys is that nobody else needs to know. It's not like you have to say to people, oh, the reason I'm adopting this bizarre position is because. There's nothing bizarre about it. Once you start adopting this stuff and thinking it through, if you do decide to go and try out some Pilates for yourselves, I would heartily recommend it, because you can use Pilates and similar disciplines anywhere you like. Okay? It's perfectly feasible to be walking down the high road, do it many times, thinking, oh, I'm not feeling too great, back's hurting a bit, shoulders hurting a bit, and you switch into Pilates regime, which I've just done. As I walk along now, I may not look too different, but I'm now A-framing while I walk. I brought my stomach in slightly, I squeezed my bum slightly, I squared my shoulders up slightly. I don't look particularly weird, but I'm stretching my lats now. I've got lats here, big lateral muscles. I'm stretching my lats as I walk. I feel a hell of a lot better. Just like that. It is staggering how much difference you can make with small adjustments to your posture, especially if you're a bass player. That's more or less it. Are there any questions?
One thing, it's not a question, it's just to mirror what you said about having an MRI scan. Exactly the same thing. I've had back pain, left shoulder pain for years and years and years, and lower back pain.
Yeah.
And I've had 2 MRI scans on my back, and both of them have come back normal.
Yeah.
And I've gone,
There must be something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is. It's the way you're using
Yeah.
it.
And they've just said, no, it's how you carry. I think a lot of people, I know I carry my tension in my neck and between my shoulder blades.
Yeah.
It makes me very, very stiff up there. People just carry tension, so
Yeah.
you could also look at how you react to stress. And
But it's also cumulative. That's the other thing to bear in mind. It's also cumulative. The exercises you've just done, the finger stretches, for example, if you do those once, as you just did earlier on, 20 minutes ago, you may well think, well, so what? What was that all about? If you do this all the time, and I do, not consciously, I'm not thinking to myself, ooh, I better do my stretches. It's actually very comfortable. I'll be sitting at my desk, looking at a spreadsheet, thinking, I wonder if I should do that. And while I'm doing it, I'll be doing finger stretches. Because it's a very easy thing to do. Over time, you'll find your hands get noticeably more supple, and they'll last longer on a gig. When you're playing, you'll find that it takes that much longer before your fingers start to seize up on you. Guitar players, I've played with guitar players who have been complaining about cramping up when they've been playing fast runs with their guitars with their pick. I've shown them that. And it's, whoa, shit, why didn't nobody tell me that before? If you keep doing that, if you do that on a weekly or a daily basis, even an hourly basis, yeah, it probably applies to drummers too. I don't know how you hold the sticks, but it may well be that the same thing's going to apply. Yeah. If you can loosen up those 2 big ball of the thumb joints, you'll find it's cumulative. It gets better and better the more you do it, the longer it lasts. And you'll start to realise, now would be a good time to do the rotating ball. I don't need to do this one, I don't need to do that one. Right now all I need to do is a rotating ball. Or I need to do the doorway thing. You'll find you get really quite good at it quite soon, if you decide to do it on a regular routine basis, sure.
where did you do your classes? Where did you learn all this?
Just a local gym in Chiswick.
Right.
You can do all sorts of ways of doing this stuff. Bear in mind, I keep talking about Pilates because Pilates is what I did. It's not like there's nothing else that will work. There's a huge range of techniques. Pilates happens to be a good fit for me. You can do a corporate class where you sign up at your local town hall and it's a trainer and 30 people. Not so much. What you really need is one-on-one for at least the first 2 sessions, so that you know the basics, you understand the real basics of it. There's loads of stuff I haven't told you. All right, obviously, I've been doing this for 3 years.
Nothing. I'm just doing it all.
I thought you had a Jesus complex. One of the things I'm doing all the time when I'm talking to you, which I haven't described at all, is rotating my pelvis. No, seriously. One of the first things I'll teach you if you start doing Pilates is how to rotate your pelvis. Because it makes a hell of a difference to how you stand. But I'm not qualified to show you guys how to do that. I'm not going to waste my time or yours trying to do that for you. Okay? So, that really is it. It's as simple as that. It's all very, very low key. And if you do this on a regular routine basis, unless there's something seriously wrong with you, you should find your body gets into better and better shape. I'm in better shape now than I was 5 years ago. I'm 5 years older, yeah. But I'm in much better shape. And we're not talking here about weights and circuit training and building up my six-pack. We're just talking about using my body in a more sensible fashion. And I'm going to get a lot more mileage out of this body as a result of using it properly.